Good day everyone, my name is Anthony Nathaniel and I welcome you back to Global Education Zone. And today in this episode of our mathematics for secondary school or high school, we are going to be dealing with the topic graphs. So what are graphs? A graph is basically when you plot a dependent variable against an independent variable. That is what a graph is. So when you are plotting a graph, what it means is you plot an independent variable on your y-axis and then you plot your dependent variable on your x-axis. So your graph often involves two variables, but there are graphs that involve three variables. But in this video, we'll be dealing with graphs that involve two variables. So we'll start from there, and whenever you're plotting a graph, you'll be given an equation of the curve, and that equation of the curve you begin to substitute your independent variable. So when you substitute your independent variable, you will get your answer, and that your answer will be for your dependent variable. So basically you are plotting a dependent variable against an independent variable. So you often see someone saying plot the graph of y against x. So y is the dependent variable and x is the independent variable. In most cases your y is often your dependent variable. Now let's try this one graph. The first graph we'll be doing two types of graph. The first type of graph we'll be doing will be linear graphs. So there are two types of graph we'll be doing in these videos: linear graph and quadratic graph. So today we'll be dealing with linear graph, and just in case you don't know, this is still a continuation of algebraic processes, and this is under algebraic processes we are dealing with linear and quadratic graphs. So you can see that the algebraic processes is a lengthy topic in mathematics, and if you don't understand this one, you can check out the previous videos because it's building up on each other. So each episode is building up on the previous episode. Now this one is going to build up on the method of simplification and change and substitution. So let's move on. Now the equation we are given is, the question says draw the graph of y is equal to 3 minus 2x for value of x from minus 2 to 4 to plus 4, and use the graph to find y when x is minus 1.4. B, to solve the equation 3 minus 2x is equals to minus 4. Now let me write the equation of the graph. The equation of the graph is y is equals to 3 minus 2x. Now this equation of the graph, you have your x as your independent variable and you have your y as your dependent variable. So now they said x ranges from minus 2 to 4. That means x ranges, you are going to be stepping from minus 2 to minus 1 to 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So for those of you who have done number line, you will know that that is when you are moving in the right direction. You are moving in the right direction from the left to the right. That is how it is. So then let's construct the table. Now this will be our x, and in our x row we have x as minus 2, x as minus 1, x as 0, x as 1, x as 2, x as 3, and x as 4. Now having had all this, we will now look for 2x minus 2x. What's minus 2x? Then we'll look for 3. 3 is a constant, so it will be constant throughout the rows. So the row of 3 will be constant 3. Then we'll have y, which is the addition of every row. So let's complete the table. That will give us something like this. And then the rows. Now having done that, anytime you see a constant when plotting a graph, you fill the constants throughout. So we're going to fill 3 throughout this row. That will be 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Now, but in this case, now this x is a function. Sorry, it's changing. Is a variable. A variable is anything that can change. So anything that is not constant is called a variable. Now, because x is a variable, you are going to have different values for each of these boxes. So that means when x is minus 2, you are going to multiply minus 2 by minus 2. That will be plus 4. When x is minus 1, that will be minus 2 times minus 1. That's plus 1. When x is 0, that's minus 2 times 0. That's 0. When x is 1, that's minus 2 times 1. That's minus 2. When x is 2, that's minus 2 times 2. That's minus 4. When x is 3, that's minus 2 times 3. That's minus 6. When x is 4, that's minus 2 times 4, that's minus 8. Now you have gotten the different values of x at each point, and then when you plot this of each of these points, you will get a continuous line or a curve. Now let's find at the end of it, let's look for y, and y is equal to 3 minus 2x. So y will be the summation of 3 and minus 2x to give us y. So let's add them together. Plus 4 plus 3, that's plus 7. Plus 3 plus 1 plus 2, that's plus 4. 0 plus 3, that's 3. 3 minus 2, that's 1. Minus 4 plus 3, that's minus 1. Minus 6 plus 3, that's minus 3. Minus 8 plus 3, that's minus 5. Now, anytime you have an equation like this, and then the highest power of your x is 1, it's called a linear equation. And linear equations are often straight lines. So anytime you have the power of x as 1, it is often a straight line. So I won't say always, because I know that in mathematics and most subjects they are often exceptions. So some equations can have linear and quadratic parts. So it depends on how you form the equation. So now, but this is what we've gotten, and then we are going to do the plotting of the graph. So stay with me and watch how the graph is plotted and how we are going to solve the questions.